In 2010, at the Pokémon Center in Tokyo, I picked up this Pikachu World Collection promo piece. It cost me 850 yen, around 10 USD at the time. I never opened it because I thought it looked cool and, I don't know, maybe I could hang it on my wall when I got home. That was before I put it in a suitcase pocket and completely forgot about it. A few weeks ago, while researching Pokémon scandals, I decided to fish it out and see what it's worth today. These cards can sell for hundreds on their own, and some PSA 10 cards have sold for $1,000. Sealed ones like mine are being listed for over $3,000. This is insane, right? There's multiple factors at work here. Rising unemployment, forcing people to make money wherever they can. NFT bros looking for the next JPEG to lose $500,000 on. Sneakerheads who couldn't flip Yeezys anymore after, well, you know. But if these conditions were the gasoline, one man held the match that set it all aflame. And that match, and the hand that held that match was Logan Paul. Whether that's him scamming fans into buying portions of his $5 million Pokémon Illustrator card.
I'll be retaining 49% ownership of the card, so I won't actually have access to it. It'll be in our vault.
And then just forgetting.
I am considering selling my one-of-one PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator.
Or being scammed himself by the dumbest eBay user of all time. Welcome to one of Pokemon's many scandals. 2 weeks ago, I was cursed by a witch. A curse which can only be broken if I cover 100 hobby scandals. Arbitrary, I know. So me and Mr. Chip set out on the roaming island of Scandacia to track them all down. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss one of our adventures. Unfortunately, I don't need to introduce Logan Paul. But I'm going to so I can be mean. Colorblind vlogger turned podcaster turned wrestler. Logan Paul has had a noose around popular culture for longer than anyone would care to admit. His massive fan base of mostly teen boys hang on his every word, and he's the master of dipping his toes into scandals that are controversial enough to snag him a slew of free publicity without being career suicide. Forrest. This, in turn, has earned him a substantial amount of money, or Logan bucks, as he calls it. Being a zillennial like me, Logan would have grown up watching, playing, and collecting Pokemon. So it's no surprise that when he came into wealth, he chose to spend his hard scammed earnings on the kind of shit you could only dream of having as a kid. In late 2020, he went all in on collecting Pokemon cards. And like everything he does, it quickly became content for the content mill. He streamed box breaks to his tens of millions of fans and began buying rarer and rarer products, making sure to show it off in videos with blingy big number titles, each with increasingly larger and redder text. Now, think about who's watching these. Logan, and by extension the people he attracts, are often younger, hustlecore, get that bag kind of blokes. These guys don't care about the actual trading card game and would be equally happy buying boxes of grey paste if it meant the line went up. Fair enough, I suppose. I mean, if someone's willing to spend 50,000 Logan bucks on a Doug Ferguson GX, then power to you, you crazy bastard. But it does suck to see the target audience of children, furries, and pedophiles get priced out of their hobby because some rich YouTuber shows his audience how profitable it can be. Now, when you think of Logan Paul, you think of two things. Suicide Forest, Japanese Suicide Forest. Logan Paul made a fucking vlog where he filmed the corpse of a man who had taken his own life. And crypto scams. From the painfully unfunny South Park parody shitcoin Dink Doink.
Keep your filthy hands off my dink, you perverts!
To the legal nightmare that is Crypto Zoo. It seems anytime Logan gets anywhere near the blockchain, there's bound to be many scandals. So it would only be a matter of time before Logan decided to combine his interests, collecting Pokemon cards and scamming his audience. But before we get into the turgid tale of Liquid Marketplace, this video is brought to you by War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. Available now on PC, console, and mobile. Yeah, I know, sorry for the sponsor, but look man, they're paying me in a real, actual tank. In fact, it looks like it's going to be here in T-minus 60 seconds. War Thunder is full of war. But honestly, not that much thunder. Meteorological gamers might be disappointed. But wargamers? They'll have taken command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations. Sorry, Laos. Better luck next century. Become a mechanized merchant of death in vehicles ranging from the biplanes and straight armored cars of the 1920s to today's fighter jets and battle tanks, ripped straight from the conflicts I don't think they'll want me to mention in this. This cacophony of destruction is brought to life with realistic graphics and sounds, which really make you feel the exaggerated swagger of an M60A1. Now, you know I'm easily amused by any game that offers heavy customization, aka the actual game. So you know I love that War Thunder lets you create everything from lore-accurate vehicles of war to the sort of zoomer brain rot you'd be downright embarrassed to be killed by. Join a worldwide community of over 95 million no doubt active players and pretend to be into games you think your dad would enjoy in a vain attempt to connect with him in a way you haven't been able to since childhood. Become paralyzed from the waist down by diving headfirst into the vast pool of content that War Thunder has to offer by downloading it free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile. Use my link in the pinned comment or video description to nab yourself a massive free bonus pack, including multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. This offer is for new and returning players that have returned at least for the 6 months. Sounds like my tank's here. Thanks, War Thunder. Pokémon Illustrator, known more commonly as Pikachu Illustrator, was an official card given out as part of a promotion for placing in one of several art contests held in a Japanese comic book between 1997 and 1998. As you can imagine, these things are rare as shit, with less than 50 confirmed worldwide. Interestingly, it's one of the few cards that can't actually be used in the game, with the gobbledy words translating to, "We certify that your illustration is an excellent entry into the Pokemon card game illustration contest. Therefore, we state that you are an officially authorized Pokemon card illustrator and admire your skill." Aw, that's nice. These cards are one of the holy grails for Pokemon TCG collectors, so it wouldn't be long for a PSA 10 copy to catch Logan's eye. But what does PSA mean, you ask? Well, let's head to the context dimension. Context dimension. PSA stands for Professional Sports Authenticator, the biggest collectible authenticator company. Companies like PSA grade cards on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 meaning the card is practically perfect, with no visible teeth or barbecue sauce marks, among other factors. A PSA 10 grading massively increases the worth of a card, which is then multiplied tenfold if it's an old, rare card like the Pokemon Illustrator. In this video, Logan buys the only known PSA 10 Pokemon Illustrator for $4 million and a PSA 9 Pokemon Illustrator, which he bought for $1.275 mil, making the total value of this purchase $5.275 million. A Guinness World Record for the most expensive Pokemon trading card sold at a private sale. Then the video ends with this.
But it's even cooler that you, yes, you at home, can own this card with me. Right into the plug. Right.
This is Liquid Marketplace, a site that Logan Paul co-founded,
As a co-founder.
as he mentions several times, where you could invest in partial ownership of high-end collectibles. Your share of the collectibles ownership would be represented by tokens on the blockchain, and you could sell your ownership, the tokens, to other collectors on the site to theoretically make a profit. Logan even says that he's putting 51% of the PSA 10 Pokemon Illustrator on the platform, keeping only 49% for himself. This meant he was giving investors a majority share in the card, and they would be able to vote on how it's used. Things like, can Logan wear it on stage? Can it be put in a museum? Can it be used as a spoon? Cool, I guess. How generous. Of course, if you've never heard of Liquid Marketplace or are wondering why Googling it just spits up an Instagram page that hasn't posted in 2 years, it's because it was a scam. I mean, what else was it going to be, you know? In 2025, 3 years after Logan's video announcing Liquid Marketplace, it was revealed that co-founders Ryan, Amin, and Dennis had been investigated by the Ontario Securities Commission, or the OSC. The OSC alleged that they had stolen investor funds and lied to consumers and the OSC during their investigation. you will notice that Logan Paul is not on that list. I don't know how he does it. I'm genuinely impressed at this point. Time and time again, Logan seems to be attached to these things, enough to where he gets paid, but not enough to where he's ever held accountable for directing his tens of millions of fans to these shady ventures. The actual platform itself that people use to buy shares of Logan's Pokémon Illustrator just doesn't exist anymore. And if you click the link in Logan's video, it just sends you to a dead page. Now, I know it's hard to feel sympathy for someone who willingly put their real, actual money into a Logan Paul blockchain trading card co-ownership platform, but it is still painful to check their Instagram and see people in the comments screaming about being unable to withdraw their funds. So you might be wondering, how much did people invest in this? Well, the OSC claims that around $2.7 million was invested by users into Liquid Marketplace. These users believe that they were buying and selling fractions of rare collectibles via tokens on the blockchain. Because that's literally what Logan says.
Platform where collectors can buy and sell fractions of rare collectibles via tokens on the blockchain.
According to the OSC, only 5 of the 37 collectibles on their platform had listing agreements, meaning anyone investing in the other 32 had no legal ownership of the collectible. Liquid Marketplace also claimed the collectibles listed on their site were authenticated, appraised, and insured, and again, the OSC alleges none of this was true. So you might be wondering, where was all this money going? Well, in addition to the $2.7 million that they scammed out of customers, they also used a bunch of investor money to pay themselves lavish salaries and to shift off to shell companies that they also own. I can only assume that money was used for charity and for the betterment of their community. Oh, and also they lied about all of this when the OSC was investigating them, so. Whoops! Now, unfortunately, we don't know what is going to happen to these guys just yet, but the OSC's case is still ongoing, and they've got a number of hearings scheduled for the next couple months, so fingers crossed, maybe someone will finally be punished for breaking the law. So, after all of that, what happened to the Pikachu Illustrator? Well, despite claims that Logan was putting majority share up on Liquid Marketplace and that the community would decide what they do with it, he announced earlier this year that he was looking to sell the card.
I am considering selling my one-of-one PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator. I'm thinking about letting it go, potentially exchanging hands for the right person. So if that buyer is watching, reach out to me.
Hope you weren't one of the co-owners, you fucking idiot. It's not very much of a lighthouse without a light, is it? It's more of just a house. If you could afford to pitch in, I could really use your help to fix it. Logan's other NFT scam, CryptoZoo, was hogging headlines at the time. So people didn't really notice when Liquid Marketplace just sort of disappeared. But at this point, Logan's influence had already seeped into the hobby. After Logan's run of popular Pokemon programming proved the profitability of Pikachu's printed prick, prices soared across the board, making it harder for the casual collector to keep up. I'm not being hyperbolic either. As Peter Day breaks down in this fantastic TCG Player article, Logan's high-profile Pokemon card shenanigans had an almost immediate effect on the price of the hobby. Nostalgic, recognizable Pokemon like Charizard had their cards spike in value, not just from the original 1999 base set, but from sets all the way up to 2017. Meanwhile, modern cards that saw play in standard tournaments had almost no change whatsoever, proving once again that these guys don't even play the game that they've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in. I think it's important to remember what we're talking about here. This is the Pokemon trading card game, a fun tabletop game aimed at ages 6 and up. Do you remember being a kid? Opening packs of cards with your friends, trying to collect all the cards in a set, trading your lunch with your friend for his foil Blastoise that he severely undervalued. Well, too bad, because a bunch of guys in their early 30s will now shamelessly sprint to the toy section the second Costco opens its doors to latch onto as many boxes as their greasy hands can grip so they can mark them up and sell them online. Of course, Logan didn't just show how much money can be made if you treat this hobby like an investment portfolio where all the companies are some type of colourful rat. He also showed how easy it is to fool both avid collectors and the authentication companies themselves when he spent millions of dollars on a fake box of Pokemon cards. Back in 2022, Logan Paul, head of the extremist terrorist group known as the Logan, announced on Twitter that he had dropped $3.5 million Logan bucks on a sealed and authenticated box of first edition base set Pokemon cards. Pokemon's very first set was reprinted 4 times in English, affectionately titled First Edition, Shadowless, Unlimited, and the creatively named 4th print. So not only is First Edition the very first Pokemon TCG set, it's the first printing of the first set. And as you can imagine, that makes it highly sought after by collectors. Logan's $3.5 million case appeared to be factory sealed, meaning it should have contained 6 booster boxes in pristine quality, each with 36 packs of 11 pack fresh cards. Tack on nostalgia and the eye-watering prices of even the shittiest cards in this set, and it's no wonder that this became the second most expensive TCG purchase of all time, beaten only by himself. Something I'm sure Logan loves to do. After Logan announced his purchase, fellow YouTuber Rattle did some digging and noticed a few interesting details about the box's history. You see, before it was in Logan's possession, it was owned by a bald man named Matt Allen, a high-end collectible dealer who uses the light reflecting off his forehead to check basketball cards for authenticity. He had bought it off another collector, Card Kahuna, who had purchased it for an unknown price from the eBay seller. Now, this listing is more sus than a character from Among Us. The seller, #1 Pokemon master, has bugger all feedback and an abysmal grasp on the English language. Up for auction is our extremely rare and hard to find factory sealed case of Pokemon base set first edition containing 6 booster boxes. This item is an absolute must-have for any collector's collection. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to add this beautiful piece of history and highly valuable asset to your collection. Please look at pictures and judge for yourself on the condition of this item. He also offers to ship this multi-million-dollar item with Canada Post's normal-ass priority shipping, which only has liability coverage up to $100. Oh, but don't worry, he'll pick the signature option. But the biggest red flag was that the seller offered up 3 different conflicting stories of how he acquired the box to 3 different potential buyers. Something that Logan Paul's bald man admits to being aware of in the video.
Reason why I was mostly concerned was because the person who brought it to me, he had so many inconsistencies, so much inconsistencies in the stories. It was like 3-4 different stories. That was my issue.
What the fuck? The stories, in case you're curious. #1. He bought it from an old lady at an estate sale.
Last year, I was very bored, so I went over to my sister's to see what she was up to, and she was not up to much.
This story is so fucking funny. He never uses punctuation, so it's just one extremely long run-on sentence.
So we went for a drive to go get coffee. After we picked up coffee, she wanted to check out some estate sales. So we drove around looking at a few, not really my thing, but I was bored. So around the 3rd estate sale she took me to, I was so bored I wanted to jump off a bridge.
And half of it is just benign details. The type of shit that a stupid person would add in to try and give a story some legitimacy.
So as I was waiting for my sister, I was standing by a table having a smoke. When I went to put my smoke out, on the bottom of my boot, I seen a box with loose trading cards containing Pokemon, hockey, baseball, etc.
No place names, no dates, no prices.
I started looking and seen a few I liked. Then I seen the case with all its paperwork next to the box I was looking in. Right away, I picked it up and asked the lady if it was for sale, and she said yes, it was her grandson's, the man that passed away, and it was part of the estate sale. Now you know the story about the case. Please make your offer. Also, if you are worried, I can make a legal contract protecting you and me.
#2, he was given it for his 12th birthday. This one is also very funny. Just 0 explanations for how a literal child in 1999 somehow had both the foresight and the restraint to not immediately tear into the box and instead perfectly preserve it for 22 years. #3, he bought a house and found it in the attic.
A farmer in Canada, he bought a house. In the attic, there was a bunch of these boxes.
The all-time classic fake Pokemon card origin story. This apparently didn't stop Card Kahuna, the collector who reached out to the eBay seller and purchased the box privately for an undisclosed amount of money. He gets it inspected by authentication company Baseball Card Exchange, who claimed that it is authentic before sealing it in their company shrink wrap. In the words of Card Kahuna,
The guy who authenticates it is a complete professional on taping. He looked at me and he's like, this tape has been, the tape that's on the box has been discontinued for about 12 years.
while BBCE's tape and cardboard master was busy tonguing the box to see if it tasted authentic, he somehow missed a few glaring inconsistencies that Rattle and the community would later pick up on. Number 1. The product code is different to all other known first edition boxes, and when scanned, the barcode below it spits out a different product code than what is listed. Number 2. The printing on the sticker is also in pristine condition, unlike other legitimate first edition cases, whose thermal labels have faded over time. Number 3. The design on the security tape is also incorrect, with different font, spacing, capitalization, and grammar. So despite all of this, Baseball Card Exchange still claimed that it was authentic. It sells to Baldy No Locks for $2.7 million, and then to Logan for $3.5 million. After a bit of time, these accusations of falsehood make their way to Logan's ears, so he flies to Chicago, the place you go to open expensive Pokemon cards, and records a video documenting the process. He's got both Derek Baldwin and the BBCE guy who originally licked the box to check if it's real, and he finally explains his reasoning. It boils down to the box looks old.
They asked for my opinion if the outside of this case had been tampered with, played with, reproduced in any way. You could see in this piece of seal that was put on there by Wizards of the Coast that this tape is aged onto this case. This label too, the same embedded lines of the cardboard from age are in that label.
There's no evidence of tampering.
One edge would look different.
In any way, shape, or form.
I did my diligence just like I do for a sports case.
Sure enough, they open it up and it's fake. Instead of 6 first edition base set booster boxes, they find 6 sloppily made fake booster boxes full of G.I. Joe trading cards from 1991. The box licker from BBCE then immediately tries to shift blame as if it wasn't his authentication that got everyone into this in the first place.
We all got duped. Agreed?
Yeah.
Say, what's your opinion on this, Bowser from the Mario Kart 8 trailer? Stop. Now, I have seen some theories that this whole thing was just a publicity stunt. Well, you know, on top of the normal publicity stunt that is Logan's life. Only a couple weeks prior, Logan had released Prime, also known as Meth for Kids. This #1 trending video conveniently plugs it in the first 15 seconds. And it's honestly a pretty entertaining video, although I think that's mostly thanks to Hillier Smith's editing. But the existence of the eBay listing and the paper trail of buyers seems like way too much effort to pull off a stunt like this, so I think Logan really did just get duped. He also looks genuinely upset here, which, you know, I know he could just be acting, but let's be real, Logan, I don't think you've got that kind of range. Now, it is hard to feel bad for Logan Paul. I mean, his influence on the Pokemon TCG has been predominantly negative. And on top of that, he's used his evil influencer powers to convince his fans to buy into dodgy blockchain projects like CryptoZoo and Liquid Marketplace. So you could see this fake box of Pokemon cards as a sort of cosmic justice, you know, karma for his bad deeds. Now he knows what it's like. Oh, he got a full refund? Don't forget to check out War Thunder for free on PC, console, and mobile. And use my link in the description or pinned comment to snag yourself a massive bonus pack for new and returning players who haven't played for at least 6 months.